Good evening. Here are tonight's top stories. Colombian national among four arrested following seizure of go-fast vessel. May Thomas resigns from PPP/C amid U.S. sanction. Alliance for Change announces nominations for key positions ahead of national conference. Covent Garden construction worker sentenced for illegal firearm possession. 34-year-old man remanded on attempted murder and grievous bodily harm charges. 50-year-old security guard remanded for inflicting malicious bodily harm. Bank of Guyana revokes Cambio license of Mohammed family following U.S. sanctions. Roosevelt resident charged for supplying prohibited article to prisoner. Vice President Barrett Jagdeo responds to questions regarding gold smuggling and GTU collective bargaining. Stay tuned for
50-year-old security guard remanded for inflicting malicious bodily harm. Theophilus King, a 50-year-old security guard employed by Palm Court, was remanded to prison on Wednesday after being charged with inflicting malicious bodily harm during an altercation on June 6, 2024, in Albuistown, Georgetown. The incident occurred at the family residence of the complainant, Ashley Mansfield. Around 6 p.m., King arrived at the residence, climbed over the fence, and entered the house, claiming he needed to retrieve some belongings. An argument ensued, escalating into a physical altercation where King struck Mansfield multiple times. The struggle resulted in both individuals falling down the steps. During the court hearing, Magistrate Annette Singh read the charge to King, who pleaded not guilty. Prosecutor Quincy Lakin opposed bail, citing the serious nature of the offense and Mansfield's expressed fear of further harm. It was revealed that Mansfield had previously reported incidents of abuse involving King to the police. Magistrate Singh denied bail, and King was remanded. Bank of Guyana revokes Cambio license of Mohammed family following U.S. sanctions. The Bank of Guyana has revoked the Cambio license held by the Mohammed family, following recent United States sanctions imposed on two family members and a government official. This decision impacts confidential Cambio, which is affiliated with Nazar Mohammed and his son, Azruddin Mohammed. In a notice issued on Thursday, the Bank of Guyana confirmed the revocation of the license, which effectively ends confidential Cambio's operations. Members of the public are hereby advised of the revocation of the license of confidential Cambio situated at Lot 29, Lombard Street, Work and Rust, Georgetown, in accordance with the Dealers in Foreign Currency Licensing Act 1989. As a consequence, the entity is no longer authorized to conduct the business of buying and selling of foreign currency, the notice stated. This action follows U.S. sanctions on the Mohammed family for alleged involvement in significant corruption and gold smuggling activities. The revocation. Covent Garden construction worker sentenced for illegal firearm possession. Tyrese David, a 22-year-old construction worker from Covent Garden, East Bank Demerara, faced Principal Magistrate Judy Latchman at the Golden Grove Magistrates Court today, answering to charges of possessing a firearm without a license. David was apprehended on June 7 during a routine police patrol when officers discovered a .38 caliber revolver on his person. The firearm, with its serial number filed off, was found without David having the necessary license to carry it. Upon his arrest, David admitted to the offense, telling the officers, "Sir, is me own. I got it from the interior." Given his admission, he pled guilty to the charge. Magistrate Latchman handed down a sentence that includes a $70,000 fine and a prison term of Colombian national among four arrested following seizure of go-fast vessel. The Ministry of Home Affairs announced on Wednesday the arrest of a Colombian national and three others following the recent seizure of a go-fast vessel off the coast of Guyana. The vessel, camouflaged with truly leaves, was discovered alongside a makeshift camp. Upon inspection, authorities found approximately 15 sandbags and 6 cases of water. In a related operation, a gray, semi-submersible vessel was seized on April 20, 2024, in the Payama Creek area off the Port Kaituma River. This vessel, also camouflaged with truly leaves, is suspected to be involved in narcotics trafficking. Minister of Home Affairs Robeson Ben, accompanied by Senior Superintendent Ewart Ray, Inspector Garfield Anthony, and Sergeant McDonald, inspected the semi-submersible vessel at the Roosevelt Wharf after it was transported to Georgetown. This seizure represents a significant blow against illegal maritime activities in our territorial waters, stated Minister Ben. Our joint security forces remain vigilant and will continue to crack down on any attempts to engage in nefarious operations that threaten our national security. The Ministry of Home Affairs reaffirmed its commitment to safeguarding the nation's borders and territorial integrity. Ruimveldt resident charged for supplying prohibited article to prisoner. Lyndon Benjamin, a 56-year-old resident of Riverview Ruimveldt, Georgetown, was charged with supplying a prohibited article to a prisoner. Benjamin was arrested on June 10, 2024, at the Lusignan Prison, East Coast Demerara. The case was heard yesterday at the Vigilance Magistrates Court before Magistrate Fabio Azor. Benjamin, 34-year-old man, remanded on attempted murder and grievous bodily harm charges. Jason Lesboir, 34, of 119 Wisrock Linden, was remanded to prison after appearing at the Georgetown Magistrates Court on charges of attempted murder and inflicting grievous bodily harm. Lesboir was arraigned before Magistrate Annette Singh, where he faced 2 charges related to an incident on May 25, 2024, at Highbridge Independence Boulevard, Georgetown. He pleaded not guilty to both charges. According to the allegations, Lesboir attempted to murder Leroy Garaya and inflicted grievous bodily harm on Alonzo McLean. Police reports indicate that around 2000 hours HRS on the day in question, Garaya and McLean were socializing at a bar when they witnessed Lesboir assaulting his girlfriend. In an effort to assist the woman, the two intervened, prompting Lesboir to arm himself with a Rambo knife and stab the victims multiple times before fleeing the scene. The injured men were rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, GPHC, where McLean was treated and discharged, while Garaya remained hospitalized for further care. Lesboir was later arrested in Linden based on information provided to the police. During the court proceedings, prosecutor Quincy Lakin objected to bail, citing the severity of the offenses and noting that police possess CCTV footage of the incident. Lesboir, who was unrepresented, maintained his innocence, stating, "I have nothing to fear and I am not guilty of the crime." Magistrate Singh, May Thomas resigns from PPP/C amid U.S. sanction. May Thomas, the government official recently sanctioned by the United States over corruption allegations, has resigned from the People's Progressive Party Civic. Thomas, who served as the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Labor, was sent on leave following the U.S. sanctions issued this week. Before her tenure at the Ministry of Labor, she held the position of permanent secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs. She was also a member of the PPP Central Committee. Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo, in a press conference on Thursday, confirmed Thomas's resignation from the party's Central Committee. May resigned from the Central Committee of the party, Jagdeo stated. She indicated that she did not want to bring the party to disrepute, and she says that she maintains her innocence and is available for any investigation. Despite the allegations, Jagdeo described Thomas as a hard worker and expressed his sadness over her resignation from the party's leadership. He assured that a thorough investigation into the corruption allegations would be conducted, potentially with support from the U.S. government. Thomas, along with 2 members of the Mohammed's family, was sanctioned this week over alleged gold smuggling and corruption. According to the U.S. Department of the Treasury, between 2019 and 2023, Mohammed's enterprise failed to declare more than 10,000 kilograms of gold in import and export declarations, avoiding over US $50 million in duty taxes to the government of Guyana. The company is also accused of bribing customs officials to falsify import and export documents and facilitate illicit gold shipments. As the Alliance for Change announces nominations for key positions ahead of national conference. The Alliance for Change AFC has officially closed its nominations process today, which commenced on May 15, 2024. The party is pleased to announce the individuals nominated for various key executive positions. Leader: Sherrod Duncan, nominated by 15 groups. David Patterson, nominated by 2 groups. Nigel Hughes, nominated by 2 groups. Chairman: Jaretha Fernandez. Kathy Hughes. David Patterson. Sherrod Duncan. Vice Chairman: Kathy Hughes. Arnold Suckraj. Hyamraj Rajkumar. David Patterson. Derek Bastio. Mark Goring. Michael Carrington. General Secretary: Ricky Ramsarup. Derek Bastio. Raphael Trotman. Kathy Hughes. These key executive positions will be complemented by 12 elected members of the National Executive Committee, with over 60 members vying for these spots. The AFC's national conference will be held on Saturday, June 29, 2024. The event will see over 285 delegates from Guyana's 10 regions, as well as from the USA, Canada, UK, the Caribbean, and representatives from Women for Change and Youth for Change participating. Scores of observers are also slated to attend. The conference aims to reinforce the party's commitment to democracy, transparency, and active participation in the political landscape of Guyana. The
You're hiding from me. I didn't even realize you're here.
Good afternoon. Mr. Janyo, with respect to the Mohammeds issue, aren't you worried that the U.S. has left the government in the dark about the investigations into the Mohammeds dating back to several years? And sir, will their gold trading license be revoked? And thirdly, in the High Court matter concerning the GTU, why it appears that the government is not considering the fact that it has not, for a very long time, acceded to the request for collective bargaining, hence the decision by the judge that the teachers should be paid for the time they were in strike?
No. The teachers should be paid for the time they're on strike because of a particular interpretation of the Constitution, saying that the Constitution confers on them this right to receive pay for no work, because it's not freedom to strike, it's the right to strike. So it is not specific to the teachers' strike. There's a ruling on what our Constitution means. So any strike, any worker now, if that ruling stands, can go on strike and make the argument that we have a court ruling which says that we should be paid for the days we're striking, whether in the public sector or private sector. That's one. So that's why I said this has this issue. We don't agree with the judge that there was no collective bargaining. We believe that what do you call several meetings between 2020 to 2023 where the union submitted a list of about 40 issues to be addressed, and the ministry addressed 27 of them? How would that happen? Is that not bargaining? Is that not collective bargaining too? They said they had a difference over wages and salaries increase.
And that was not what was discussed.
Right, so there was a difference over that. And we said from the beginning, we are prepared to have a multi-year agreement from 2024 going forward. And they said no, they wanted it to go back to 2017, then 2019, and 2022. The ministry, and I should have said this, the ministry and the union has had some recent good engagements, exchange of letters, and I think we're moving forward, and hopefully we'll get back to the table. I've seen some serious progress being made recently. However, we disagree with the judge that there was no collective bargaining. We had a meeting when the union went on strike. They met on the 28th of January, I think, 2023, and had an agreement. They will meet on every third Wednesday, I think, of every month. That was an agreement. That is meeting people in discussions. So we don't agree with, not because it's rule, we don't agree with their ruling, and that's why we're disputing. We're not disputing. Well, we respect the court ruling. We have abided by it, but we are challenging it in a higher court. And yes, so The first one about, we believe that there must be symmetry in the information. So the U.S. now, I guess they may not, because they took a long time getting around to this. I've heard about this so-called investigation. Everybody's been talking about it. Every social media for the last several years. That everybody knew. The Reuters wrote about it. But it took many years. I am shocked that it took so many years to conclude it. And it is on gold smuggling, because obviously you would have had the record there. And so I'm surprised that it took so many years. But it's here now, and we've requested the information. Let's see where all of the people who were involved, and let's get the information about the smuggling that would allow us to take action against it. So we are very pleased with the partnership we have had with the United States government. Things work slowly and sometimes in an asymmetric way, but we have noticed that over the last several years we've been getting serious responses from the U.S. government, I mean, on a whole range of activities and in a timely fashion. When the letter was sent through the U.S. Embassy by Minister Ashni Singh on Tuesday, the U.S. ambassador contacted him and said she sent it up already, and she strongly recommended that the information be provided early to us. So we're waiting for that. I've said already that every agency, except because the central bank had to move with alacrity, given the Cambio license and the nature of that, because it's in the financial sector. So they're still looking at a report on the exposure in the financial sector, and all the other agencies that have business interaction or regulatory responsibility for sectors in which the Mohammeds are involved in, they have to present their report. I don't want to preempt what will happen, but that report will go to the cabinet and other places.
I want to press you, sir. You said sometimes things don't move sometimes move in the way that it ought to be with respect to the investigations. But a straight question, do you think that the U.S. government trusts the Guyana government fully to provide certain types of information dealing with certain types of investigations?
I think there is a great deal of trust, because this here is on smuggling. And it's a straightforward thing, basically. You get the metal abroad and it's not declared, you know it's smuggled. We have had joint operations on much more sensitive things. On drug trafficking, joint enforcement actions where we've shared information with the U.S. and they have shared information with us. And none of those operations have been compromised. None of them. And so until now, as you've seen since 2016, this was a problem. You were here from the beginning?
Yes.
Yes, so you heard what Trotman said. But none of the regulatory agencies still have the report. None of the regulatory agencies have that report as to who was involved, and there was a substantial amount of gold, 15,000 ounces per week, Trotman said, and he said that the exit points and the entry points and the quantities were identified by the U.S. government. At that time, if they told the minister, he should be asked, there must be a list of names of the people, what happened. But none of the regulatory bodies have that. I've asked them. The Gold Board, the Ministry of Natural Resources doesn't have it. The GRA doesn't have it. Nor the police. So it's not something else. But we have had good intelligence sharing, and we have strong cooperation in the defense sector, and as well as fighting transnational crime, money laundering.